Let us start, Lieutenant Colonel, at paragraph 2 of your exhibit GG. At paragraph 2, I'm sorry. Is it correct that that paragraph relates to how you were approached?
Yes.
Yebo ke paragraph 2 uchaza ke indlela ke engacelwa ngayo ke noma ekwakhulunywa ngayo nami.
And just underneath that paragraph, that is paragraph 2, there is options that you must delete, which relates to the manner in which we are approached by a person requesting you to conduct the pointing out.
Yes, my lord.
Ukuthi ngenzansi ke lapha yipi indlela ekwakhulunyiswana nami ngayo.
Is it correct, Lieutenant Colonel, that in the space provided, you then responded by saying that, can you please obtain a pointing out from an accused on my case? Was that supposed to be a response to the question?
The response to the question is, how was the officer approached? And it starts by telephone, personally or otherwise. I scratched personally and otherwise and left by telephone.
Lana ke kubuza noma umbuzo uthi ke kwakunyiswa kanjani noma kwaziwa kanjani ke kuyena officer base kuno telephone kwaziwa kuyena mathupha noma ke ngenye indlela lezi mbili ngicimile noma ngicishile ke kwase kusala telephone.
So on the space provided where you indicated that he said, can you please obtain a pointing out from an accused on my case? Was it not supposed that you indicate that he requested you or you were approached by telephone?
No, it is mentioned already by telephone.
Ukuthi la kule
Because I
ndawo
scratched the 2 out.
ukuthi kule ndawo engibhale kuyona ke ukuthi wathini bekufanele ukuthi ngathi ngocingo cha lapha yana sekushiwo ukuthi ngocingo lezi mbili lezi ke lezi ezisuliwe.
Because just underneath that at paragraph 3, you are then asked to detail the exact words that a member said when he approached you to be in charge of the pointing out. Then your response was, he said, can you please obtain a pointing out on my case? So it's a repetition.
Yes.
Yebo ke la nizansi la abuza khona ke athi nike amazwi akhe noma ilunga lelo ke uma liza kuwena ke licela ke ukuthi uhole leyo pointing out ngicela ke ungithathele ke ngenzele ke sekubhaliwe ngaphezulu.
So when Brigadier Gininda requested you to be in charge of the pointing out, he only said these words, can you please obtain a pointing out on my case? Then he dropped the phone.
No, I agreed.
Akusu ukuthi nje wathi nje ngicela ke ungenzele pointing out case yami wabe sebekucingo ngavuma.
So that was the end of the conversation that you had.
The only thing that I asked from him was when, where.
Uyinto nje mina engambuza yona ukuthi kuphi nendawo nini.
And he explained, hence I came to Albert.
Wase echaza ke ingakho ke ngaya eAlbertine.
He did not tell you the details of the case.
No, my lord.
Mininingwane yeqala akazange angitshele.
By the details, I mean he did not tell you the charge that you were supposed to conduct the pointing out.
No, my lord.
Neqala ke alithwesiwe ke loyo akazange angitshele.
At page 2, Lieutenant Colonel, you indicated that you asked the deponent the following. The said was asked whether he was informed of the reason of his arrest as prescribed in Section 35 of Act 108 of 1996, which is the Constitution. And then the response was, yes, I was informed, and I was arrested for the drug dealing. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
Yebo ke la kuthiwa khona noma kubhalwe khona ke ingaba wabuzwa yini ubuziwe ukuthi wathi njengoba ke usection 35 esho impendulo yathi ke yebo ngatshelwa ngiboshelwe icala lezidakamizwa.
So, Lieutenant Colonel, this pointing out, you were not aware whether it was in relation to a drug dealing or to any other case.
My lord, I have explained to this court that when I in office, reason for arrest, and that he was also in custody on a drug dealing case.
Ngichazele lenkantolo ukuthi ngenkathi ngim-interview ke wangitshela ke noma ushilo ke mina ukuthi yebo bamtshela ke isizathu sokuboshwa kwakhe nokuthi ke ube ngaphakathi ke noma evalelwe icala lezidakamizwa.
So it is your final answer that when you conducted this pointing out, you are not aware the charge that that person was facing.
Yes.
Kathi ke ngenza ke lokukhomba ke noma le pointing out ngangamazi icala abhekene nalo.
My lord, I was provided with the SAP 10, which is the occurrence book register, and it was marked Exhibit KK of the record. Lieutenant Colonel, do you have Exhibit KK, the SAP 10 register?
No.
Are you going to call the Mr. Tanoi, wait. Are you going to call the officer who signs that occurrence? It's a book which is used at the cells, is that not so?
Yes, he also made an entry.
Yes. The entry was not made by Lieutenant Colonel Adeb.
There are 3 entries.
See.
And but in any case, my lord, we're going to traverse the occurrence books during the trial within a trial.
Okay.
So it may as well just be handed up at this stage. Exhibit KK.
Now, but the point is, this witness, we want to ascertain from him whether he signed it or not. Can you continue with your cross-examination in that
Yes.
regard, sir?
Yes, thank you.
The SAP 10.
SAP 10, serial number Lieutenant Colonel 318.
Yes.
It's a second entry of SAP 10 register. It is at 12 hours 24 minutes. Is it correct, before I proceed, Lieutenant Colonel, that you said you arrived at Albertine SAPS at 11:30 a.m.?
Yes.
Ngishilo ukuthi ngafika eAlbertine ngo-11:30 isikhathi.
At 11:24 a.m., there is an entry there, suspect taken by Lieutenant Colonel Hadebe for pointing out on phosphorus case 66 of 10, 2014, murder, Muzi Sitemba Sibiya, correctly received. Is it correct, Lieutenant Colonel, that the signature that is appearing in that entry is your signature?
It's not correct. It's not 11:24. It's 12:24.
I think I had said 12:24. Yes,
It's a human error. Remember, Mr. Lieutenant Colonel talking about human errors.
It's, it's human error. It is at 12:24 p.m.
Nothing to do with experience, I suppose.
Yeah, it is at 12:24 p.m. Suspect taken by Lieutenant Colonel Hadebe for pointing out on phosphorus case 636 of 10, 2014, murder, 1 Muzi Sitemba Sibiya, correctly received. Is it correct, Lieutenant Colonel, that the signature that is appearing at the bottom of that entry is your signature?
Yes.
Yebo kuyiqiniso ukuthi signature le elana ke kule ndawo ufunda kuyona eyami.
At what stage did you sign for the accused, Lieutenant Colonel?
After that heckling of in up and down where they were refusing to sign for him, and that's at that stage that I signed.
Ukusayinda kwami ke ilesikhathi ke lana ke kunalokuxoxisana khona ke bengafuni ukuthi bamsayindele.
Before you signed in that entry, did you read what is contained in that entry?
I think I would have went through it quickly because I was also not happy with the fact that they could not bring the suspect to me. So bring the book, I'll sign it. That's what I did.
ukuthi ke ngithi nje kona ke lethatha incwadi ke ngisayindeke ngoba ngicabanga ukuthi ke ngangenemeke ngokuthi bangafuni ukuthi bamlethe, so ngicabanga ukuthi nje mhlambe ngabheka nje ngokusheshsha.
But did you understand the contents of the entry, what was contained there, before you signed?
It was about the suspect, yes.
Ukuthi lokho kubhalwe lana ngaphambi kokuthi ngisayine yebo ukuthi kwakumayelana naye umsolo.
Not only the suspect, and also the charges and the case number for that case.
I did not even have the case number, my lord. And hence I'm saying I might have not overlooked the murder charge that is mentioned.
Ukuthi i-cash number ngangenayo ke kusangenzeka ukuthi kwangenzeka ukuthi angizange futhi ke nokuthi nje ngeqe noma ngibheke ngale kuyona ke icala leli alithweswe elibhaliwe khona lapha yana lokubulala.
Are you saying you just signed without reading fully and understanding what is contained in the entry of
Yes.
the SAP-10?
Yes.
Yebo ngisho kanjalo ukuthi mangasayinda ke ngingabhekile ukuthi yini ebhalwe lapha yana.
Are you not running away, Lieutenant Colonel, from the fact that you knew when you took the accused by pointing that out that what charges he was facing? That is why we are saying that you did not read the entry of the SAP-10 when you signed for him.
My lord, I do not have any reason to run away from responsibility. And I cannot come here and play with the court's time. I take full responsibility of my actions, not running away from anything.
Akukho ke engibaleka kona ke nokuthi ke uma into ngiyenzile ke ngithi cha angiyenzanga ke nokuthi akunaso nje nesizathu ukuthi ngeza la ngizodlala noma ngichithe isikhathi sale enkantolo. Uma ke ngikwenzile ngizokwamukela ngithi ngikwenzile.
But it is true that I was not aware what the accused was going to point out before I interviewed him.
Kodwa kona ke kuyiqiniso ukuthi ngangazi ukuthi yini le ayezohamba ayoyikhomba ngaphambilini kokuthi ngebe nenhlolo khono noma ngikhulumisane ngihlale phansi ngikhulumisane naye.
Without any hesitation, Lieutenant Colonel, I must put it to you that you knew before you went out with the accused what charge he was facing.
Before I went out to the office or out on pointing out?
Before you went out of the police station for the pointing out, you knew?
For the pointing out, I knew because I had interviewed the accused.
Ngaphambilini kokuthi ngiphumeke epolice station yebo ngangazi ke ukuthi kwakuyini ngoba ngase ngikhulumileke naye.
Maybe we are not along. We are not getting along. I'm saying before you went out with the accused, out of Albertine SAPS, the police station, you knew what charges he was facing?
No. No. It's true that you are saying maybe we are not on the same page. When I interviewed the deponent, I was not aware what charges was he arrested for, except that he knows what he's arrested for, and he is also in custody on a drug dealing case.
Yebo ngale nkathi ke ngikhulumisana naye ke kuyiqiniso ke ukuthi ke mina ke nangazi ke ukuthi ayini amaqala ke yena abhekene nawo noma iqala abhekene nalo, kodwa yebo ke wayazi ke uyena wayekwazi ke ukuthi lokho akuboshelwe uboshelweni nokuthi futhi okunye elinye iqala futhi abhekene nalo ke iqala ke lezidakamizwa.
I only became aware of what he was charged for after the interview.
Ngizokwazi ke ukuthi yini ke lena athwesi noma yiphi iqala athwesiwe ke emuva ke ukuthi ngikhulumisane naye.
I'm asking you all this question because in that entry, there is the case number, the phosphorus case number 636 of 10/2014, which was a murder case, and which will tell us that you knew when you signed for the accused, that is before you took him out for the pointing out, which charge he was facing. Basically, that is my question.
I've already said, my lord, that I might have overlooked it because I did not even know the case number.
Bese ngishilo ke ukuthi le mniningwane ebhalelana ke nokuthi ke wayethethe icala lokuqala ongenza ukuthi into nje engayiqaka engazange ngiyiboneke ngoba ke ngishilo ukuthi ne case number ngangayazi.
Lieutenant Colonel, you arrive at 11:30 a.m. The suspect is only taken out for the pointing out at 12:24 p.m. What was happening between 11:30 and 12:24 p.m.?
From 11:30, I did not meet with the suspect. I was at the station waiting to get an indication that they have arrived from wherever they were coming from.
Ukusuka ngayo ke 11:30 umele futhi ukwazi ukuthi ushilo ukuthi wafika ngo11:30 kodwa lana ke bhala ukuthi wakhishwa ngo12:24 ukuthi kwakwenzekani ke ngaleso sikhathi. Uma ngifika ke ngo11:30 angihlangananga naye ke ngoba ngafika epolice station ngalinda bona ukuthi bafike ke ukusuka la babe noma yikuphi ke la babesuka khona.
My colleague Advocate Nisi also referred to a statement, not necessarily referred, but he also mentioned that there was a statement that you made only on the 18th of June 2020 at 12:15. I would like to refer to that statement which you made. I'm not sure, Lieutenant Colonel, whether you do have a copy of your statement.
No.
May I request that the state provide you with a copy? Lieutenant Colonel, I'm going to refer you to paragraph 3. Your statement is not paragraph, but the introduction of your statement will be paragraph 1, and the paragraph starting with on a Thursday will be paragraph 2, and then the third paragraph, which I want to refer to, will be marked paragraph 3 of your statement. That paragraph reads as follows, and I quote: on Friday 2020-06-05 at about 11:30, I arrived at Albertine Police Station. I was afforded an officer.
Walapho Albertine Police Station wase eletha ke umlisa ke owayefakwe ozankosi owayichaza ke yena noma wazothula njengomuzi kauphulela Sithemba Sibiya ngase ngimazisa ke uMr Sibiya ukuthi ukuba khona kwami lapho ukuthi bakungane ngase ngimazisa ke nokuthi ke ngijustice of peace nokuthi ke isikhundla sami ke ngiu-Lieutenant Colonel uthi yebo yaqinisekisa ke lokho okubhaliwe lapha ya.
Is it correct, Lieutenant Colonel, that in Exhibit GG, where you were supposed to indicate the person who brought the deponent to you, you left it out, the reason being, that is the reason that you provided before this court, was that no one was prepared to bring the deponent to you?
To sign.
Yes, to sign,
not
yes.
to bring.
To sign, yes, to sign. Thank you, my lord. Is it correct? That is the position?
Yes.
Ngisichazile ke isizathu laphayana ukuthi ke kwakungani ke imbangela ukuthi mina ngisayindeke ngoba ke kwayengekho oyimisela ukuthi asayindeke noma amkhipheke umsolo.
Is there an officer? Okay, before I get to that, is it correct that your evidence in chief is to the effect that you ended up going to the CSC to sign for the deponent?
Yes.
Ngishilo ukuthi ngase ngiya ke mina lapho kuma cell ngiyosayina.
What happened after you signed for the deponent?
Because he was in cuff and I was going to go with him, they had to remove their handcuffs and I put in mine. And then we went to Office 31.
Ngoba ke wayesemanje fakwe ozankosi ke futhi ke wayezohamba nami ke kwakufanele ukuthi bakhiphe ke labo abafakwe babefakwe ibona ozankosi mina ke ngifake abami bese siyahamba ke siya ku Office 31.
What was the problem, Lieutenant Colonel, if he was brought in their handcuffs? If the deponent was brought in their handcuffs, you said you had to replace the handcuffs.
Because I was going to drive with him out on a pointing out. So I can't take their cuffs. Handcuffs are allocated to individual members, which they must stand inspection there. So I could not take a member's cuffs and leave with him.
wayezohamba nami ke eyokhomba noma eyoke pointing out ama handcuffs umekhishwa ke akhishelwa umuntu othize ngangeke ke ngihambe nama handcuffs akhishelwe omunye umuntu mina ngihambe nawo ke.
But is it correct, Lieutenant Colonel, that before you drive with him to wherever to point the scenes, you were still going to via office number 31?
That's true.
Kuyiqinisa ukuthi ngaphambi kokuthi ngizohamba naye ke siye noma ikuphi ke sasoqala ke ku office 31.
Lieutenant Colonel, between your version, the version that you mentioned in your evidence in chief, that you had to sign for the deponent, as you have indicated that after you signed for the deponent, you took him to office number 31. And what is contained in your statement, more particularly paragraph 3 of your statement, that the deponent was brought by Sergeant Baloyi, which is correct, and which one must the court accept?
The deponent was brought by Sergeant Baloyi, who refused to sign for the deponent to allow me to take him with for interview and pointing out. We went back and I signed for the deponent and I gave Baloyi back his handcuffs.
Lana ke kwenzeka ukuthi ke umsola lona ke walethwa uyena uSergeant Baloyi kodwa ke owanqaba ukuthi ke amsayindeleke ukuthi ngimthathe kume naye siye ku pointing out ekwaphoqalaka ukuthi ke sibuyele emuva ke ngihambe ngiyosayina mina ngibese nginikeza uBaloyi ke ozankosi bakhe.
Do you confirm, Lieutenant Colonel, that it is not in your statement that Sergeant Baloyi refused to sign for the deponent? You had to go back to the CSC and again sign for the deponent. Then again going back to your office that was allocated to you, office number 31. That is not contained in your statement.
My Lord, it is not contained in my statement. But if you further read my statement, you will see that is where I mentioned that I even signed for him and I signed for him when he went back.
Yebo ke lokho ukuthi ke uBaloyi wanqaba ke kwase kufanele kubuyeleke kuma cells ngiyosayina ngiphinde ngibuyele ku office 31 akukho la kodwa ke uma uqhubeka nosifunda ke kukhona ke la ekushoyo khona ke ukuthi ngamsayindela futhi nokumsayindela futhi ukuthi abuye.
Lieutenant Colonel, besides you making a statement, the one that I've referred to, is it correct that in addition to that statement, you did not make notes of the pointing out?
That's true.
Kuyiqiniso ukuthi kule statement esala ngingasenza awekho ama notes engawenza ayo pointing out.
In your past experience, that is experience in this procedure of conducting pointing out, did you compile the pointing out notes?
No.
Ngaphambilini angazi ngikwenze ke ama notes pointing out.
Do you still reaffirm, Lieutenant, that you drove from Albertine police station and you stopped at the entrance of Fosloras? Do you still confirm that?
Yes, I did not drive. I was being driven.
Yes, by driving, I mean you yourself being in the vehicle.
Yes.
Yes.
Ngisasho ke futhi ukuthi sahamba ke sayofika ke la ekwakuthiwa khona ke i-entrance yase Fosloras kodwa kwangasimina ke oshayelayo.
From the point when you were at the entrance of Fosloras, who was giving the directions to the scene?
The accused was giving directions to the driver.
Ukusuka la esama khona ke Fosloras la kuthiwa i-entrance ke umsolo wakhe owayetshela ke umshayeli ukuthi ashayele kanjani.
If you can estimate, Lieutenant Colonel, what is the distance in kilometers from the point at the entrance of Phosphorus to the crime scene?
My lord, it's less than maximum a kilometer.
Ungathi nje ubuningi ke kungayikilometer ibanga ke ukusuka la ngithi khona ke esema khona ke la eseqala khona ke manje ukuthi atshele umshayeli ukuthi ahambe kanjani ungaphansi kwekilometer ukuya la kwisini.
Is it a single street, or there are streets that you have to join or enter?
How is that going to help us solve this case, Mr. Mawat?
I'm going to
How
the
is it going
notes.
to help us whether there are 16 streets here to traverse and there were 3 circles which you had to engage? The point is, please, let's get along with this. Some evidence is irrelevant and not material. Because the witness point of view, he says they went there, he was shown, the driver was shown directions by Mr. Usibiya. Take it from there, whether they actually reached the points which were pointed by Mr. Usibiya or not.
Did you take any photos of the kilometer reading when you reached the entrance of Phosphorus?
No.
Uma sifika ke la nendawo echazwe njenge egena khona ke Phosphorus akuthenganga angithathanga ke ama pictures ukuthi manje i-reading noma i-mileage ibithini.
I'm just going to go through your statement. I'm going to jump paragraph 4 and go to paragraph 5 of your statement, which reads as follows, and I quote: "We then drove to Phosphorus as directed by Mr. Usibiya, and I was driven by Warrant Officer Nailana from Gauteng Serious Corruption Investigation Unit." Close quotation. You see that paragraph?
Yes.
Ngiyabona ke la ethi sesihamba ke siya eFosloras njengoba uMr. Usibiya nomnumzana Usibiya ke wayechazela ke umshayeli futhi ke umuntu wayeshayela ke kwaku Warrant Officer Nailana wase Gauteng Serious Corruption Investigation Unit.
Is it correct that that paragraph states that from Albertine Police Station you then proceeded or drove to Phosphorus as directed by Mr. Usibiya, and the driver of the vehicle was Warrant Officer Nailana? You confirm that?
It is correct.
Kuyiqiniso ukuthi ngale ndlela ke ebhalwe ngayo noma efundeka ngayo ke le sentence ukuthi ukusuka ke Albertine kwaku Usibiya ke ositshela noma owayetshela ke udriver ama directions ukuya eFosloras.
Is it correct, Lieutenant Colonel, that from that paragraph that I've read to you, and in your statement, it is nowhere that you, from Albertine, you stopped at the entrance of Phosphorus? That is where the accused started to give you direction to the scene.
My lord, I never said we stopped at the entrance of Phosphorus. In my evidence, I said the accused requested the driver to drive him until to the entrance of Phosphorus. We never stopped.
Angikaze ngisho kubufakazi bami ukuthi ke la engenwa khona ke eFosloras ukuthi safika sema ke lapho ngathi ke umsolo wamcela ke umshayeli ukuthi akahambe ke ayofica ke la engenwa khona noma ke kwi-entrance yaseFosloras asikaze sime.
Okay, let me put it, Lieutenant Colonel, in the manner that you have put it. Is there anywhere in your statement where you detail that from Albertine Police Station you then drove to, the accused said if you can drive him up to the entrance of Phosphorus? Is it anywhere in your statement?
As directed says all.
Uma ngifunda lana uthi ke ngendlela ke esatshelwa ngayo noma ke esadirectwa ngayo lokho nje kuya kusho konke.
I will leave that for argument. Lieutenant Colonel, is it correct that you indicated that the rights that you explained to the accused are the one contained in the pro forma, that is exhibit GG, on page 2.
Your question? I
I've
beg your
asked you
pardon,
the
I did
question.
not hear
I'm
you.
waiting for the answer from you.
I did not hear you. That's why I'm saying
you
I beg
must
your
ask me
pardon.
to repeat the question. I'll repeat it for you. The question was, is it correct that the rights that you explain to the accused are the ones that are contained in the pro forma exhibit GG?
Yes.
Amalungelo ke iwona la abhaliwe ke la ku page 2.
The rights that you explain to the accused, which are contained on page 2 of the pro forma, in terms of section 35 of the Constitution, Lieutenant Colonel, do you know the category of person to whom they belong?
Yes.
It is in relation to which category of
Of
persons?
arrested persons.
Amalungelo ke abhaliwe ke noma akutholakala ke na ku section 35 amalungelo ke aphathelene noma amayelana nomuntu ke oboshiwe.
Is it correct, Lieutenant Colonel, that not all the rights as contained in section 35, 1A to F of the Constitution are not detailed in that paragraph?
Yes.
Kuyiqiniso ukuthi nanje kuba ekhona ke kuyancwadi ke yomthetho sisekelo awabhaliwe onke ke la kule paragraph.
Yes.
Do you know, Lieutenant Colonel, whether the accused had appeared before another officer for a confession statement?
No, my lord.
Ukuthi ke waye phambi komunye ke noma ke ikhona officer ke wayeke wavela ke phambi kwayo evelela ke mhlambi ukuthi ke vule isifuba ke noma akhulume ke angikwazi lokho.
Do you know that the accused, the one who appeared before you for pointing out, was arrested on the 30th of May 2020? Did you know that or not?
I did not know, my lord.
Ukuthi ke wayeboshwe nge-30 sika May 2020 lokho ngangakwazi.
Did you know, Lieutenant Colonel, that that person, that is the accused person or the deponent, had appeared in court from the 1st of June to the 5th of June before he appeared before you? Did you
No,
know
my
that
lord.
or not?
Ukuthi ke wayevelile phambi kwenkantolo ngangikwazi ke lokho.
I also see, Lieutenant Colonel, that there are thumbprints on the sides, both sides of the page. This is on page 2. Whose thumbprints are those?
They are the ones of the accused.
Kuneyithupha ke ebekiwe ke lana ke kwi-page lena ke emaceleni ke kwenye page kanye nasenzansi ezakhe umsolo.
Which thumbprint is that? Is it the right or left thumbprint?
My lord is the right hand thumbprint.
Isithupha ke sesandla sabo sokudla.
Is it correct, Lieutenant Colonel, that you did not indicate in that thumbprint whether it was the left or right thumbprint?
Yes, that's correct.
Angibhalanga ke lapha noma yisiphi isandla sabo sokudla sokunxele.
What was the significance of that thumbprint? I see it's on both sides of the section which provides for the accused rights that you said you read.
Please, I don't think that supposition is right that she did not indicate which thumb was put on the document.
The form indicates that.
If one looks at page 5, it says that the right thumbprint.
On that page, I did see on page 5, on that page. I'm
What
more
does it say?
particular.
If you saw that, what does it say?
It says the right.
Now it must be asked whether it's the right. Can you differentiate, Colonel, between right and left?
Yes, my lord.
Thank you.
Umehluko ngiyawazi ke phakathi kwe right no left.
What was the use of you asking the accused to place his right hand thumbprint there on that page?
To acknowledge, my lord, that I informed him of his rights.
Lana ke ukuthi noma ke baluleka ke ukuthi kabeke ke isipha sakhe laphana ukuthi nje avumeke ukuthi amalungelo akhe ngamchazela.
Was it not for the deletions that you made?
No, my lord.
Kwangasikona ukuthi khona la engisule khona ke wayengenzeli lokho.
Were you also not supposed to sign next to the thumbprint that he placed there? To place your signature?
No, I don't think it was necessary.
Cabanga ukuthi ke sesikhona isidingo sokuthi ke lapha beke isithupha sakhe nami kufanele ngisayine khona.
Is this form, Lieutenant Colonel, the form that you use provides for the provisions where you had to state that since you are satisfied that the deponent is in his sound and sober senses and he freely and voluntarily, without any undue influence, wish to proceed with the pointing out. Is there any provisions for that question in the form that you are using?
Initially, my lord, the question is there is provision, and it changes to is there any provision? So I do not understand the question.
Let me make you understand the question fully. Is there a provision in the form where you satisfy yourself that the deponent is in his sound and sober senses without having been undue influenced thereto, and he voluntarily wished to proceed with the pointing out?
Yes, there is.
Ikhona ke indawo la khona ke kufanele lizineze khona ke ukuthi ngempela ke mayizokwenza ke noma ke ezokwenza ke pointing out ukuthi ke akukho ke umthelela ke noma ke obe nomthelela noma umgqugquzele ngendlela engafanele noma engasiyona nokuthi futhi ke usemqondweni ngokuphelele. Ikhona ke leyo ndawo la ku form.
On which page?
Page 2, paragraph 6.
Page 2, paragraph 6.
I don't see that. Okay, where it says he is further asked if he still wishes to point out the sins and or points, and his reply is this, then he provides the response.
Yes.
Ila eshoyo khona ke ukuthi uyabuza ke ukuthi usafisa yini ukuthi ke aqhubeke nokuthi akhombeke wase ubeka ke ethi usafisa.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel. Thank you, Madam. I have no further questions.
Yes.